Hello, everybody. Um, Trevor, I feel bad because I have some breaking news.
Uh-oh.
William Hurt has passed away.
What?
Yeah, and you were dancing while I was reading that. It was really weird, and I was uncomfortable. Yeah, that's so sad. Literally, like it was breaking while the countdown was.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's a note to start the show on.
yep. You know what? If we're not starting the show off in an awkward way, we're not doing our jobs, right?
No, no. Well, that sucks.
It really does. Yeah. Oh, so sad. Okay. Anyways, I'm sorry.
And
I'll
his last film was The King's Daughter.
Okay. As Trevor knows, I saw The King's Daughter, and oh
I
wait,
did as well.
what a movie that
Yep.
was. Oh, I gotta figure out if they're gonna sell that movie now because I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah. That, yeah. Can't wait to pick that one up at Walmart for $5.
I'm telling you right now, if they sell that thing on Blu-ray, I'm gonna buy it, and I don't care how much it costs. Also, really underrated movie. Have you ever seen? Of course, the name just popped right out of my head. Hold on, going to IMDb. It's the one where he's the like alternate like serial killer personality of Kevin Costner. I cannot remember what that movie's called right now.
I know. I do not know what this is.
Oh, I like it a lot.
Is it
Good luck.
Mr. Brooks,
It is Mr. Brooks.
according
Yeah,
to Google? All right, that's a solid William Hurt and Kevin Costner question mark Google search.
it is. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really like that movie. I showed it to Dan. He enjoyed it.
Nice, nice. Well, that's fun. But yeah, that's like
That's
Kingsman.
actually really fun. I like
That's
that card.
that's very fun. Yeah, two not great movies.
I found enjoyment in The King's Man. I get why a lot of people don't like it, but I quite enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's great, but I had fun.
I thought that the war scene was like phenomenally directed, and then everything else was just like I honestly I've forgotten it. Like I distinctly remember the battlefield sequence, and that's it. Oh, speaking of movies that you forget until somebody's like, this movie exists, and you're like, oh wow, it does. And this is a movie that like I kind of enjoyed more than most people. So we're gonna tangent and then lead up to it. So really good podcast that everybody should listen to is called The Director's Cut. It is done by the Directors Guild of America, the DGA, and each episode they have two directors discuss a new film. So, like for instance, they had Steven Spielberg and Damien Chazelle talk about West Side Story, or they had
Ooh.
Christopher Nolan and Kenneth Branagh talk about Belfast, and they had Nolan and Villeneuve talk about Dune. Like they have some really really interesting stuff. Their most recent episode, I think, is Jeff Tremaine and Spike Jonze talking about Jackass Forever. So like they have some very fun conversations, but I'm just going through the backlog right now. It's short, it's 30-minute conversations, talks about the movies. Very good show. But going through the backlog, and it was Lisa Joy and J.J. Abrams talking about Reminiscence. Do you remember Reminiscence?
I do, sadly.
Like I didn't hate that movie, and but I've completely forgotten about it until I started listening to the podcast. It's like, oh, I watched this like 6 months ago. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know. I didn't think it was good, but like I didn't hate it as much as most people. It was just something that like I completely forgotten existed.
Yeah. Oh, it totally just occurred to me that they're going to have to recast him in the MCU if he was going to continue being the character.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where else you would go with the character.
I don't know. Just like
But
hey, member berries? Remember this?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect segue. One thing they should not do is just bring Sam Elliott back. So yeah, why don't you go into this, because this is just, I'm not usually into like the juicy goss, but I'm following this story minute to minute, and yeah, this is the most like stupid gossip story ever that I'm very invested in. Take it away, Trevor.
So Jane Campion is quite possibly the greatest human to ever walk the earth. Um, for one, she's a phenomenal filmmaker, and everybody should go watch all of her movies. And two, she completely bodied Sam Elliott, and then she picked him back up, and then spit in his eye, and then chucked him off of a cliff. He is dead. Like, I like just in every way. I mean, like, so he made some very dumb comments, saying that the you shouldn't shoot westerns in places that aren't in the American West. Which one is like, I mean, it's incredibly Ameri-brained, but like, to, you know, as you and many people pointed out, you know, that spaghetti westerns exist. And Jane Campion
Part of
pointed
it
that
was
out.
that like he kept referring to her as that woman,
That woman.
not like that director, that filmmaker, Jane, Miss Campion, whatever. Like just anything besides repeatedly saying that woman, which I'm not very trigger happy about issues of like feminism. But that one was like, oh, I don't know. That one kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
It's like, yeah, brother, these women can't make movies that we want. Like, it's like, what are you really okay? Yeah, we're like, I'll read her quote. But like, yeah, like I mean, he was also very not, I don't know. He seemed very confused that people who weren't straight existed in the West. Um,
They
just,
do? Oh
I
my God. My whole worldview has shifted.
yeah, I just, that left me wondering just which moment in The Power of the Dog made him stand up and was like, is this gay? Is what I'm watching gay? Like, I just like, I at what
I also
point?
love that he's born and raised in like California. He's not from Montana or Wyoming or Utah or
Yeah,
something.
no, he like, yeah. So then Jane Campion, of course, is asked about this on the red carpet for the DGA Awards, which she wins. And she's winning the Oscar, which is great. And because yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we have to ask people about all of the juicy drama, but we got the greatest response ever, by opening with I'm sorry, but he was being a little bit of a bitch. She spelled it out, which is such a power move.
It is.
And then she followed it up by I'm sorry to say, but he's not a cowboy, he's an actor. Just
I saw a really funny meme where someone, my family that's visiting showed me. It's like the Woody and Buzz thing from Toy Story, where it's like, you are, and then it says an actor instead of a toy.
that's wonderful. And then, yeah, she said, you know, the West is a mythic space, and there's a lot of room on the range. I think it's a little bit sexist. I mean, and yeah, it's Sam Elliott's. Yeah, he's not a
I
great.
think his mustache fell off when she said that.
Yeah, has somebody checked on Sam Elliott? Is he still alive? Um, like, yeah, it's like she murdered him. She murdered him live on camera, and I'm very okay with this murder. I condone. Um,
Oh man, I was thrilled when I saw that, because not only is it like it's savage, but in such a delicate,
mhm.
like almost a sensitive way, like where you can't really get mad at all. Because number one, I don't
Yeah,
think that she certainly didn't say anything worse than what he implied about her. So it's at least a proportional response. But
yeah,
it was so savage though, in terms of like how she did it. And it was so chill. She was just 100% chill. Like, I've
yeah.
had my edibles. I'm just hanging out here on the carpet. I'm great.
Well, and she also just seemed like legitimately sorry that he said it. Like she's like, yeah, like you said, it's such a sensitively savage thing. Like, yeah, I know even people who like, decided not to watch The Power of the Dog because they thought it would be boring, which like whatever. But like everybody is on the side of Jane Campion here,
Oh,
which is wonderful to see. I mean, it's yeah. It, I mean, come on. And the like she's winning Best Director, even if Coda somehow like takes Best Picture, um, which I don't know. We'll have to see what happens at PGA and Critics' Choice tonight. Well, PGA next week, Critics' Choice tonight. But like, sure, winning director is going to be a wonderful moment. And it'll just be cool because like Sam Elliott, I'm quite positive he's lost a few brain cells. So yeah, Jane Campion is I put it in the chat earlier. She is the best of us. If you follow me on Twitter, which you don't have to, but if you do, I had a solid just like 5 to 6 tweets, not a thread. I was just I was lots of Jane Campion content, because she's
right,
amazing.
Muffin? Yep, that's right.
Muffin also loves Jane Campion.
Yes. Muffin is very fast asleep, but she agrees.
We
had to cover that. There was no way that I couldn't. I was like making the episode title and description, and I was like, oh yeah, and also Jane Campion.
Also, Jane Campion is just the best.
Oh yeah. Ha ha ha.
A Campion champion. I am. Yeah.
I'm gonna make you a T-shirt that says that.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm gonna like have a Jane Campion, like I'm gonna Photoshop her like backhanding Sam Elliott and his mustache flying off of his face.
No, that needs to exist.
Okay. I said something earlier this morning. I was making pound cake French toast, which if you would like to have diabetes and are ever staying at my home, I will probably make for you. General nebulous people, not necessarily people specific, but I normally like to do my French toast baked, but in a pinch, just use pound cake because it's a thing. And I said, baking is just chemistry that you can eat without dying. And I realized that had to be a T-shirt.
Yeah. You know that there's like bots on Twitter. If you're like this needs to be a T-shirt, and then there will be like bots that will respond like this is a T-shirt, and then like that's like it's kind of a problem, and then like you have to like go in it's a whole thing. Twitter's a weird space, but yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm just gonna like make it for myself though because I really like
it. Yeah.
Mousetrap. Sorry, everything's fine.
Okay. Cool.
We're all fine here. How are you?
I am. I'm currently existing, supposedly. But yeah. Let's touch on other words. Well, we can also talk about Turning Red and the Atom Project.
Yeah. Let's make sure we're moving through because Trevor has some stuff he has to do after this that he's going to plug at the end of the show that you should go check out.
I am. I do lots of things, probably too many, but I get excited. All right. So we can talk about some awards. Normally I don't want to take over the show with too much awards talk generally,
yes,
but it's not all of the time. I try to restrain myself.
You shouldn't though. The show, we have a 50-50 relationship with the show. Although maybe it's more like 49-49 and the audience has 2%, but like you should drive the car. You're 16 years old now. You can do it.
Drive my car. So yeah, it's a big awards day though. Critics' Choice, BAFTA, and then also everybody's forgetting about the Motion Picture Sound Editors Awards. The Golden Reel Awards are also tonight. Show us the best in sound editing, which Dune will likely win, but still exciting. See if maybe we can see something upset.
Man, if only the Oscars thought people were smart enough to still differentiate between sound awards.
Yep. Yeah. But we can talk about what's looking the strongest in each category. And Mar, you can hop in on the conversation as well, because I don't know if you've said much publicly on the internet about the awards so far.
I have
So
not in a public way as of yet, but
yeah,
I will first defer to your analysis though, because you are looking at the precursors.
lots of them. I have a spreadsheet, and it's a lot. All of the critics awards, all of the festivals. It's yeah. So we can start with some visual effects. We had the Visual Effects Society earlier this week. Dune won. Obviously, it's won everywhere else. Expect it to win Critics' Choice. It's it's winning everywhere. And then we have this banner up. No BAFTA spoilers in chat, because I've not seen the BAFTA winners yet. I will be reacting to them with my co-host Thomas over on my channel after this, and that's gonna be a whole thing, and that's what I'm
Link
plugging.
in the description.
But yeah, visual effects I think is very obviously Dune. I can give a little help to everybody trying to figure out what to predict, and this is as of now. Critics' Choice could change a lot, as could PGA next week. WGA is kind of locked. It's looking like Coda and Licorice Pizza are going to win are going to win the Writers Guild, especially because Belfast and Power of the Dog are ineligible. So it just would make the most sense for Licorice Pizza and Coda. But visual effects, yeah, sound is I think also very obviously Dune. We haven't had the sound guilds yet, but it's Dune. Everybody,
It's Dune, everybody. Trevor 2022.
Yeah. Then production design is an interesting category
There's a
because
lot this year.
yeah. So I think the two front runners are Dune and Nightmare Alley. Dune has been the perceived front runner, and it's one of the most critics awards. Nightmare Alley did win contemporary production design at the Art Directors Guild. Dune won sci-fi fantasy because obviously everything else, all of the other like major contenders were in what am I trying to say? We're in period. We're in
Yes.
period production design. So that's usually the most correlated to the Oscars, but we have an anomaly this year with Dune. Like we have a very strong contender in the sci-fi fantasy category. So I think it's between the two. We'll see what happens. I mean, you could see what happens at BAFTA right now. But and then Critics' Choice as well. I could honestly see Critics' Choice going with Nightmare Alley just because they obviously really liked Nightmare Alley. They were the only ones to call Nightmare Alley getting into Best Picture. They nominated Guillermo del Toro for director. I think it makes a lot of sense for them to potentially give Nightmare Alley a win, and production design is where Nightmare Alley is at its strongest. So I'm kind of surprised at this point that they didn't go for Bradley Cooper, an actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you feeling in production design though between Dune and Nightmare Alley?
I mean, it's tough because I would say that from a movie perspective, just like overall, Dune was tied with Tick Tick Boom as like my favorite movie of last year because I refused to pick because no one can make me. But
Mara,
from a
make you.
production design standpoint, though, I do think Nightmare Alley might have the superior edge, especially just it's so dynamic and you do move between two major like types of places between the carnival stuff and then the cityscape stuff. And like even just the design of the like big mansion and the lawn maze, whatever that my brain the name of the actor, the guy that plays the old guy
Oh, wait, which old guy?
in Nightmare Alley, the one that he's like trying to con.
Oh, it's the dad and the
Richard Jenkins.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I
I didn't know
cannot
if you meant
explain.
Richard Jenkins or a David Strathairn. Sorry.
Oh, I see. I see.
But
But like
yeah.
all of that stuff is so incredible. So I think perhaps the superior movie overall might be Nightmare Alley, but I think Dune also just has so much momentum overall because of it's so incredibly like it has so much depth to it, even though a lot of its stuff is very stark.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Nightmare Alley is a Step Brothers parents reunion. We have both Mary Steenburgen and Richie
We
Pinkett.
do. Oh, connected
Um,
universe.
obviously, I also love the connected universe of Mary Steenburgen playing Will Ferrell's mom, Step Brothers, and Elf.
Yes.
All right. So then makeup and hair is also a very curious category because Coming to America, while not nominated at BAFTA or Critics' Choice,
Mhm.
swept Makeup and Hairstylists awards. Makeup and Hairstylists awards have been around. This is like their guild, the society, whatever it's called. They've been around since 2014. Ever since their inception, one of their winners has always won the Oscar. Their three winners were Coming to America won three of the awards. Being the Ricardos won one, which isn't nominated at the Oscar, so it's irrelevant. And then Cruella won one. So Coming to America, the clear winner of the Makeup and Hairstylists Society Awards. But it also didn't get nominated at Critics' Choice or BAFTA. So I don't know. I think that if Jessica Chastain is going to win the Oscar, then we could see an Iron Lady pairing, like with Meryl Streep,
Oh,
or that one actress and makeup and hair, or Renee Zellweger if you want to go a bit more recent, which also an actress and makeup and hair. So I think if Chastain is going to win Best Actress, then I think Ice Tammy Faye is taking makeup and hair. If not, it's pretty open. I'm curious to see what Critics' Choice does tonight. I'm going to be predicting Eyes of Tammy Faye, though. But Coming to America could still come for the win, like in all seriousness.
it's
Um,
funny because to me, I mean, I get it. I get why it's there. But I know that when I had encouraged you to watch it because of the Basement Awards, it was primarily because of the costume
costumes,
design.
yeah, the
And
costumes,
so, like, of those two, though, and again, I totally get why it has makeup and hairstyling. I mean, the first one, remarkable makeup and hairstyling as an example, but like, I'm just so surprised that that's where its current like momentum is, just compared to the
yeah,
Eyes of Tammy Faye.
yeah. I mean, and it's like sure, yeah, Critics' Choice and BAFTA like didn't nominate it, but they also have very little voter overlap with the Oscars. The Makeup and Hair Society is made up of the people who are, it has a lot of voter overlap. That's why the Guild Awards are so important. That's why we put so much stock in the Screen Actors Guild Awards because it's voted on by a lot of the same people who are voting on the Oscars, and they felt the need to give Coming to America 3 wins and completely shut out Dune, Tammy Faye, and House of Gucci. I think that if House of Gucci, if I think that if Leto, I think that if Leto got nominated, then I think House of Gucci could also be very strong. But lacking the pairing with the performance is going to be tough.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. But yeah, costumes I think is just obviously Cruella at this point. It won the Costume Designers Guild earlier this week. I will say, Coming to America won contemporary costumes at the Costume Designers Guild. But yeah, it's Cruella. It's sweeping, and
I
that's
mean, it had
I don't
great
hate it.
costumes, and I have to also admit, though, it also has the most costumes. So
It
that
does.
also helps.
Yep. Just like Bohemian Rhapsody had the most editing, even though the editing in that movie is atrocious.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's
like
funny because it's like the exact opposite of 1917, which I was like
mm,
screaming had to win editing, and people were like, why? And I was like, that's the point.
and
The
it
point
did.
that you can't see
It
that
did.
it's
Yeah.
edited is the point that it should win editing for.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's weird because Birdman didn't get an editing nomination.
Yep.
And that's the thing that like we're talking about with Coda because like Coda, as of now we're saying it can't win Best Picture because it doesn't have the editing nomination for the past 40 years. No Best Picture winner has won without the editing nomination. And like I mean the last one aside from Birdman, obviously as we just pointed out, but like it's crazy how far you have to go back to find a Best Picture winner that didn't have an editing or director nomination. Do you want to know how far back we have to go?
I do.
1932 with Grand Hotel. It won. Its only nomination was for Best Picture, and it won it,
Wow.
which is never going to happen today.
I
For
don't
a
know.
movie.
Maybe we see some Oscars history. Who knows?
No, I'm saying as far as a movie just getting a Best Picture
Oh,
nomination
I
and
see.
winning
I see.
that. Yeah. Like I mean, obviously statistics are made to be broken. We had like a 50-year statistic or 45-year statistic of there being a first-time nominee and Best Actor that was broken this year. So like
Hmm.
statistics can be broken, but like since 1932 is quite a bit of time. That was, I think, the fifth Oscars, the fourth or fifth Oscars. So we're now in the 94th. So it's it'll be interesting, but we'll have to see. Um, and yeah, speaking of editing though, this is a very weird category because we all thought Dune. Also, Dasher's using his litter box, so that might be in the soundscape. Um,
As long as it's not in the smellscape.
so Dune was the perceived frontrunner for editing, but it lost the ACE to King Richard, which was very weird, especially
Yep.
since it didn't. King Richard didn't even make the BAFTA long list, the top 15 for BAFTA editing. I was predicting Power of the Dog
Hmm.
because to potentially go along with the picture, because I don't know if Power of the Dog is going to win an acting award, which is really weird for a movie to get four. Because the last time that happened was American Hustle in 2013, where a movie with 4 acting nominations didn't win a single one. And I don't know when was the last time that a movie with the most nominations didn't win an acting. Well, maybe Shape of Water did. I think Shape of Water had the most nominations that year, but it would be very weird for Power of the Dog to win off of just director screenplay. Like, I don't know. And if Coda wins screenplay, like, I thought maybe that could happen. I don't know if King Richard could happen in editing, but like the problem with King Richard happening in editing, which people are trying to predict, is there's no sound nomination for King Richard, and sound
Right.
and editing have been shown to tie together for best editing. So like I know the real winner of this category should be Tick Tick Boom, but um
I agree, by the way.
it's really weird with how tied the sound category is to the editing. Um in which case Power of the Dog randomly got a sound nomination, so I think that still has a side. That's the only reason I was predicting it. It might just be Dune though. So, you know. Cinematography is Dune,
I mean, I
clearly
hope
and
so.
obviously. The only thing that could threaten it is Power of the Dog with Ari Wigner because she could become the first female cinematographer to win. However, Netflix didn't campaign that at all. They just didn't. If they did, I think that it could have had like a shot to win cinematography, to push that like monumental achievement. Since that it's just dumb that hasn't happened yet, but they didn't campaign for it. So yeah, it's just Dune. Everybody loves the Batman right now. Craig Fraser. It's Dune's winning
Yeah.
cinematography. So
It's
yeah.
pretty amazing.
Also, if you want help predicting the short films, I think that there's 3 frontrunners from what I found. So for live action short, I think it's the film. I think it's called The Long Goodbye. It's the one that's produced by uh the one produced by Riz Ahmed,
Oh, okay, okay.
because we want to give Riz Ahmed an Oscar because he deserves an Oscar. And why would we not give Riz Ahmed an Oscar? Sadly, he probably won't receive it. Yeah, it's called The Long Goodbye. Yeah. Produced by Riz Ahmed, he would be getting the Oscar for it. So let's give Riz Ahmed an Oscar. I think that makes the most sense. Animated, Robin. There are no Disney ones, so then it's usually best to look at the production companies. Look at Netflix. Next, they have Robin. It's about animals. It makes the most sense. Documentary short. I'm feeling good about the Queen of Basketball. I said that this was
Mm.
going to be winning since like April of last year. And then it got shortlisted, and then it got the nomination, and right now it's number 1 on Gold Derby. So I'm just standing by my year-long prediction of the Queen of Basketball winning winning best documentary short. It's a really good short film. It's free to watch online. It's about a black woman who is the only woman in history to be drafted into the NBA. She was drafted into the NBA and then wasn't allowed to play because they like changed the rules after she was drafted. And then yeah, she was like part of the first U.S. women's team to play at the Olympics. It's a really interesting documentary. So that's short films. Song should be No Time to Die. However, however,
I
we
don't
got
like that song.
I like it. I enjoy the song. I'm just saying should as far as what it looks like it's going to be. Um, the only other thing I see contending is like Dos Oruguitas from Encanto, because that would give Lin-Manuel Miranda his EGOT, and everybody loves Lin-Manuel Miranda. Well, most everybody. The industry loves Lin-Manuel Miranda,
Yes, they do. They very much do.
and giving him his EGOT like would be like, I don't know, if it was We Don't Talk About Bruno, then like maybe that could be a thing, but
I mean, that's the sad part, is that they didn't know what they had at that time, because that would have been the much more of a lock song.
but as of now, I don't know. Billie Eilish hasn't lost at any major ceremony yet, so I don't see that changing. Score should be Dune,
I was going to say, it should be.
but I brought this up tomorrow. We had the Society of Composers and Lyricists. They're a pretty new organization. They've matched up with the Oscars every single year that they've been around, though, and they gave it to Encanto over both Dune and The Power of the Dog.
Which
Like
is
my favorite score of the year wasn't even nominated, which is Spencer. And then my second favorite, Don't Look Up, has no shot of winning. So like I don't know. I really don't want Encanto to win anything, but particularly score.
well, I mean, for me, score, because
Yeah.
I just, again, as somebody who has played music since the time they were put in front of a piano and handed a violin at like age 4. Thanks, mom and dad. I just, the percussive, rhythmic stuff in Dune is both not to time and also incredibly regimented to time. And I
Yeah.
still cannot figure out how they did it. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. It really, really is. What's also interesting is Critics' Choice didn't even nominate Encanto. They didn't do Encanto or Parallel Mothers or French Dispatch even. They did Nightmare Alley and Spencer to go along
Mm-hmm.
with Power of the Dog, Dune, and Don't Look Up. So Encanto's not winning tonight in score, but we'll see if it can upset. Tonight should be Dune at Critics' Choice. Animated feature. I think that Mitchell's could upset at Critics'
I
Choice.
hope so. I really do.
So Flea is number one on betting odds, which I also would not complain about.
Oh, I wouldn't be
Um,
upset about Fleet winning at all.
but I don't see Encanto winning tonight. I think Encanto will still probably, sadly, win the Oscar. But I would much rather see it be Mitchell's or Flea. But we'll see what happens tonight, because after the Annie upset, who knows? Okay, international film is Drive My Car, and that's just so obvious. Like, just, if you're overage and can bet, which I'm not, but just put money on Drive My Car winning international feature, because even though you won't make that much, it's literally free money. It got a director, screenplay, and picture nomination. It's obvious. It's Drive My Car is winning international feature. It should be
I
worth
mean, I
most in the
agree that
world.
it is. I wish that it weren't.
Yeah. What's your favorite here? Is it a hero?
I mean, my personal favorite is a hero, although out of movies that actually stand any chance of winning,
Drive My Car versus Drive My Car versus Drive My Car. I-
I just mean that, like,
yeah. I mean, the
yeah.
hero wasn't
Of
nominated.
course,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a slightly greater attachment to a hero just based on heritage, but I liked the substance and the conflict and the turmoil of that movie way more than Drive My Car, because Drive My Car had about 30 minutes too much of Uncle Vanya in it. And if I wanted to watch Uncle Vanya, I'd go watch Uncle Vanya.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, people know what I would like to see: Teton, worst person in the world. But
See, and honestly, I'd be happier with Titan winning than Drive My Car, because I think that, like, just the stylized uh and the way the story pivots, like, I'm totally fine with slow, contemplative, like,
yeah.
introspective movies. 100% am. But I really felt like if they could have tightened up Drive My Car, by minimum like 15 minutes, I would have been like, oh, I love this movie. I love this movie.
It's
But I
just,
was like
yeah.
sitting there and I was like, why am I at my seventh table read of the same scene and they're just reading the lines? They're not doing anything but reading the lines, people.
It's weird that was the international film to break out. Like Worst Person in the World makes a lot more sense. I feel like that's a lot more Oscars friendly.
Yeah.
Especially coming out of Cannes. Like I don't know, it's kind of weird because like Teton, like it, I could dream, but it was always going to be a very hard sell for the Academy. But like
Which sucks.
I'm just happy that you liked it because I think it's just such a special movie.
I want to
Um,
rewatch it again because I feel like I'm going to like it a lot more on rewatch. Like, not that I didn't like it the first time, I really
yeah,
did, but I feel like it's just gonna, snowball.
it gets better for me on every rewatch. So yeah. Um,
I follow you on Letterboxd. I see what you watch and how many times you watch it.
yeah, I haven't been logging stuff on Letterboxd recently, which is unfortunate.
Me either. I'm actually like 2 weeks behind because when we were in LA, excuse me, I was watching some stuff to prepare for something I was doing there, and I wasn't sure if I should log it publicly or not. So I
I
stopped, and
think
then I
Dan logged
forgot.
those things publicly.
Okay, then I'm just gonna catch up because everything I've watched, Dan's watched, and vice versa. So I'm gonna go to his letterbox and be like, "When did we watch this?
Yeah,
When did we
yep,
watch this?"
yeah,
And then fill it back in.
yeah, yeah.
By the way, I watched Wayne's
Um,
World for the first time last night, just for funsies.
oh, nice. I've never seen it,
It's
but
very of its time, but I found it fun. I'm gonna watch the sequel because apparently it's one
okay.
of the best sequels, especially comedy sequels ever. So, hooray!
All right. Best comedy is such a weird category for Critics' Choice.
Yeah.
I am predicting. I think it's going to be either Don't Look Up or Barb and Star.
See,
Okay.
honestly, the Barb and Star thing I don't get because I loved every single ounce of Jamie Dornan in that movie, and like 3 other tiny moments of that movie, and the rest of it was like kind of not enjoyable to watch.
I didn't like it, but people love it for some reason.
I don't know
Um,
why. I would be much happier with Don't Look Up winning.
but so Licorice Pizza is like very much the odds-on favorite to win here. I don't see it happening because we normally see like the big comedy movie of the year, and I point to, for example, 2018, where a film like The Favorite was nominated, and instead
Yep.
it went to Crazy Rich Asians.
Yep.
Or 2017, where you had stuff like Lady Bird nominated, and it went to The Big Sick.
That's right.
Like, it
I'm not
goes.
mad about that one, admittedly, though, because The Big Sick gave me probably one of the loudest, biggest, totally I'm embarrassed laughs that I've ever had in a movie theater. Ever. And I saw it in a theater full of critics, so I was judged harshly.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, last year they went with Palm Springs. Like, I feel like they go for like the more like comedy films. Like in Licorice Pizza, like there are a couple of jokes, but like it's not a straight comedy. And like
No.
I feel like going with something like Don't Look Up or Barb and Star, where it's just like a very much like this is a comedy. Like, I mean, in like I think Don't Look Up even like isn't as obviously a comedy, but it's a big event film. And that's like I don't know. I don't see it going to Licorice Pizza, even though that's what everybody's predicting. That's my hot take. All
Sizzle.
right. Yeah. Ensemble at Critics' Choice is going to be very weird because Coda isn't nominated, even though it won SAG Ensemble. I think it's going to go to West Side Story.
Ooh.
I think it makes the most sense. I think they'll want to reward Spielberg's film in some way, because the Critics' Choice loves Steven Spielberg. I think Belfast is also a second option because they did DeBose, they did Hines, and they did Dornan. So it has 3 nominations, which is the most acting nominations of any of the films in here, I believe. Well, I guess Power of the Dog also has 3, which is possible, but I don't know. This is an interesting category. I'm predicting West Side Story though.
I'd be down for that.
Young actor or actress, I think this is Rachel Zegler, unless they want to go with Amelia Jones if they really love Coda. So I think it's close
I'm not
between those.
unhappy with either of those.
Yeah, I think it should be Woody Norman, but I would I wouldn't complain about either of those. Adapted screenplay, I I mean I think we think it's Power of the Dog, but who knows? Coda's there's a lot behind Coda. Though I'm curious, so when did Critics' Choice voting end?
Ooh. So
Because it
some
was
of the awards were just this last week, but I think it was
right.
like 2 weeks ago or something. When we were in LA was when Dan voted and I consulted.
Okay. Because I didn't know how long ago since it was originally scheduled for earlier and like where the momentum would be. Because especially with like Chastain and Kristen Stewart as far as where their momentum is.
Maybe I
Going
might
along
be
with the voting.
misremembering. I honestly don't remember, but I
Okay.
don't also I can't remember what I ate for lunch like 3 days ago. So
But yeah, it's adapted as Power of the Dog vs. Coda. Original screenplay, it's probably Licorice Pizza at this point. Everybody wants to award PTA. And he's
why
probably finally going to win his Oscar. So, I
for
mean,
this?
it's going to be a legacy award.
Which
So,
is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. We should just reward people for what they've done at a certain moment in time, and that time is right now, and not a "oops, we're sorry we didn't give it to you for Wolf of Wall Street" award, or an "oh well,
yeah,
you're retiring, so now here's your award," or "oh you've come out of a period of extremely bad movies to create one really good movie that's not a great movie but really good movie, so we're going to give you the ooh you're back award," or the you know what, lifetime achievement award, because you're just so good and you've had a great career full of a lot of good stuff but never like super great stuff. Here's your award. How about we just give it to who's best every year?
here's the thing. Okay, out of the Critics' Choice nominees, I don't love any of the screenplays. It's Licorice Pizza, King Richard, Belfast, Don't Look Up, and Being the Ricardos. Like, none of those five are any films that, like, I really love. Which, like, normally there's at least one nominee that, like, I really, really like. But, like, I don't know. It will baffle me until the day that I die. That Worst Person in the World, the Oscars did it, and Critics' Choice didn't. Like, I mean, I like, you know, I like, I don't understand why it seems like a majority of Critics' Choice just wants to predict the Oscars and not go with like, because if this was really Critics' Choice,
Ooh.
Best Picture would be made up of, we'd have Power of the Dog there, and then it would be Drive My Car, and it would be Petit Maman, and it would be Worst Person in the World, and it would be the critics' movies, and not like the why is Being the Ricardos here? It has like a 50 something on Metacritic. Like this isn't what critics like. I don't know. It's very weird. I don't understand it.
I hear the music to Lake Placid playing downstairs because that's how well I know that movie. It's the opening music. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm gonna yell downstairs, so I'm gonna mute myself.
Love this development.
Yeah, I'm right. I love that movie so much. Oh, I know what I'm doing after this.
Right. Yeah.
Although
So
we should
acting.
actually make sure we're watching our time because I want to make sure that
Yeah.
we give you ample time before your next engagement, especially if
Yeah.
we want to do a real brief discussion about Turning Red and the Atom Project. If not, we could table those for next week.
Yeah. I'll run through the acting quickly. Supporting actors: Ariana DeBose, done deal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like it's happening. Rewatched West Side Story the other night with my mom, who loved it.
Oh,
And
that's what you were rewatching it for. Oh, I'm so glad.
and yeah, it's like, I mean, she's amazing. I just, yeah, we should be giving her all of the awards. Supporting actor, I think it's Troy Kotsur at this point. I think the momentum has fully shifted away from Cody Smith McPhee. The fact that he like the fact that he won at Golden Globe, though, it will always be confusing. Like that's the place that it's going to go with. Like it would make much more sense if like it was like Critics' Choice or like SAG, but like I don't know. I think it's Troy Kotsur's Oscar, which is really cool. I'm very happy with that. Like, yeah, that's just lovely. And like, I don't know, it's weird. Like the supporting races are like reverse of what it was last year, because like supporting actor last year was like electrifying performance that just swept everything,
Yep.
Kaluuya, and then now it's supporting actors with the bows, and then last year, supporting actress, somebody won at Golden Globe. I believe it was Jodie Foster for The Mauritanian, and she wasn't even
Hmm.
nominated. But then somebody else swept everything else. The indie darling, Yoon Jung for Kotzer.
Yep.
The supporting categories have just flip flopped from last year. Best actress, I'm predicting Kristen Stewart for Critics' Choice because I have no clue who's going to win, and she's leading on the betting odds. So that's all I'm going off of right now. I wouldn't be shocked if it was Jessica Chastain, though. If Chastain wins here, then I think it's her Oscar. Pairing SAG with Critics' Choice, and I'm not complaining about that.
I know
I
you're not.
I quite enjoyed Chastain's performance in Nice Tammy Faye, my second
Me too.
favorite of the nominees. I would love for Kristen Stewart to win, but yeah, also Olivia Colman, just like it just occurred to me that like she missed that both Indie Spirits, where Indie Spirits Lost Daughter won picture, director, and screenplay, and they didn't even nominate Olivia Colman. They nominated Jessie Buckley, but they didn't even nominate Olivia Colman. She didn't get nominated at BAFTA Home Turf, where she always gets nominated. Like, it's kind of weird that Olivia Colman even got nominated. I feel like she was pretty weak in the category. So I don't know. As long as Kidman doesn't win here, I think she's kind of out of the race. So
Which, I mean, if there's anything I'm
thank
most
God.
happy about, it's that.
Yeah. Best actor, I think Will Smith is taking this. It would just make the most sense. I was holding out for a Benedict Cumberbatch win. I really wanted it to be Benedict Cumberbatch, but I think it's Will Smith, which again, this feels much more like a lifetime achievement for Will
I
Smith,
know.
because I thought that he was okay in King Richard. At times it felt like an SNL version of Richard Williams. Like I didn't love him in King Richard. I thought that he was okay. I would much rather see Benedict Cumberbatch or Andrew Garfield win.
Andrew Garfield.
Specifically Andrew Garfield, who BAFTA didn't even nominate. So
No.
it
Oh,
should
hi,
be
Muffin.
Andrew Garfield, but whatever.
Come on.
I guess Will Smith can have this. Best director, it's Jane Campion. Uh-huh. And best picture for Critics' Choice, I think we're expecting Power of the Dog. Mara, I think that Coda might win PGA.
I think you're right, and that's gonna really I think mess up the
I mean,
odds, and I'm very
and
excited to see this.
And I mean, if it takes screenplay and supporting actor, if you look at the packages, there are 3 films in the last 10 years that have won screenplay, a supporting Oscar, and Best Picture. 12 Years a Slave, Moonlight, and Green Book all took home that package.
Wow, one of those things is not like the other.
Yeah, 2 like amazing films and 1 movie that shouldn't have gotten a single Oscar nomination. I said what I said. Because Green Book is kind of trash. 2018 was just like kind of a bad year for the Oscars all around. Like the fact that Green Book and Bohemian Rhapsody were the movies that won the most Oscars is kind of disgusting. Especially in a year where The Favorite and Roma existed. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of
I just think
depressing.
the world wasn't ready for Roma.
No, I mean it's like Roma had to die so that way Parasite could be glorious. But
I think what you might have been looking for is um Roma walked so that Parasite could run.
well, yeah, so that was the thing that was in my mind. I was trying to do something different, but
Oh, I see. I see. You
yeah,
were
yeah. I
making
was
your own
trying to.
path.
I was not conforming.
You were making your own path by tearing down the rainforest one tree at a time.
Yes, I hate trees.
That's a fact. He told me that when we were studying Intergeekdom last year, whenever I would mention the Ents, he would be like, "Cut them all down," and I was like, "Okay, Saruman."
My initials might begin with an S, and second one is an E. All right, so let's briefly talk about some movies, though.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to start with?
Oh, why don't we start with the Adam Project, because I actually don't know where you stand on that one. We very briefly discussed Turning Red together, and so I feel like let's just end on that.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't like it. I don't know. It felt like a film that wanted to be a lot of different things and ended up just being nothing and being very hollow. I think like a lot of the familial drama that it tries to go for works, and I wanted the entire movie to be that. And then every single time that Ryan Reynolds spoke or there was an action sequence, it like just completely lost me. Like, I don't know, it felt like a lot of like my problems with like a lot of like blockbuster, just like standard basic blockbusters, where is an interesting emotional core at the center, but it's just kind of like covered up by like having to like, have like a quip or a one-liner every other line, and just like the most basic, like uninteresting action sequences where they just decide to put on a, like a song from the 80s or 90s over it, and then just like very uninteresting fight choreography. I mean, I feel like I don't know. Ryan Reynolds is very hit or miss for me. Like, I don't think that his comedy style is like the most effective, especially since it's just the same character that he's played over and over and over again. And like Free Guy worked a lot better for me because Free Guy felt very unique and distinct, and like there was actually like some creative world building going on underneath. But as far as like the narrative of the Adam Project and like all the time travel storytelling, like and like everything that I was trying to do, like it wasn't unique. It was something like it stuff that we've seen done over and over and over again, and like it just there was no hook for me. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's getting a mixed to positive reception, and like I feel like a lot of the positive reception is like because of the original idea. I guess at least from reviews that I've read, people are like praising like the original idea, but like I don't think it's that original. And if this was based on something else, I think that it would be getting much worse reviews overall. So,
I mean, I do think it's incredibly original in the sense that, like, let's look at it at its base element. Primarily, it's a time travel movie. First of all, Back to the Future, not even the very first time travel movie, just one of the most notable. Like, and that's kind of, the Zemeckis, like Amblin era.
Very Amblin. Like,
they did a Q&A afterwards, and that was what specifically the aesthetic that they were going for. But I mean, when you look at what is like, if time travel is just the general thing that happens, then you just have to look at what is the purpose of the time travel. Because if time travel itself is not original, and it wasn't even original in Back to the Future, a film that's heralded as being like one of the best time travel movies ever, let's look at why they were doing it. In Back to the Future, they went back in time by accident. In the Adam Project, they go back in time very intentionally. In Back to the Future, it's all about like, oh no, I have to get my parents back together. That's the thing that's the problem I have to solve. And in the Adam Project, it's, I got to figure out, I mean, I'm not going to get spoilery, but like, I got to figure out what happened to person A, and is person B involved? And through all this, I accidentally interact with persons C, D, and E, etc. So it's like a totally different amalgam of situations that occur around time travel. So I actually found that it did not seem Back to the Future-y or like, oh, it's just like this other thing to me.
And I don't think it feels, sorry to cut you off, but I don't think it feels Back to the Future-y. I just feel like I don't know. A lot of the world building felt hollow to me, and like it wasn't very fleshed out. And I did see Simon brought up, it said disposable soft sci-fi and the forced emotion was the least congruent part, and I kind of and like you said, exact opposite opinion. I kind of agree with that. Like I feel like if it was just about like the emotional core, it would work a lot better. But in the context of how the entire film was laid out, like the emotion did feel very forced and like very messy compared to like I guess
Oh, see,
the film.
I disagree completely. I think this is the best acting Ryan Reynolds has done maybe ever. Like
Oh wow.
there's a scene that takes place in a bar, and
Yeah.
it's so subtle and subdued. It's not joking, it's not quippy. It's a sincere conversation that happens, and it happens in the best possible way for the best reasons, with no like for example, there are times, like I think we all have understood by the trailer that he's going to interact with his younger self. I think that's
Yeah.
very established. That's not a
Yeah.
spoiler. So it stands to reason that there's the possibility he will interact with his parents. And let's just say it happens, because it probably would. In Back to the Future, as an example, when Marty interacts with his mom, they kiss, and it's gross.
Yep.
And when this person interacts with their parents, you don't get weird misunderstandings. There's not like a creepy sexual vibe, or even like a who's this creepy person vibe, or why do you know so much about me vibe. It's I think that the way that they did that, especially since like the scene in the bar is the one single interaction between those two characters, that it felt so simple and so grounded. And I get that perhaps that might seem like it doesn't fit in context of the rest of the movie. And sure, that might be a problem on the fault of the movie. However, I felt like that's the one time in any recent history I've seen Ryan Reynolds do anything different. And so I really appreciated that. And I thought
agree.
it was great.
I think that scene is very good, but it felt so weird to go from like jokes, and then that scene, and then back to jokes. Like it felt really weird, because I don't think it ever reached for that emotional level again to me. And
my thing is, there's something that he suggests to the person he talks to, and they actually don't ever bring that part full circle, the thing that he tells someone to do. And so I was like, oh, I feel like that would have been more effective if you had that person do the thing that you suggested they do.
I think I know, I feel like a lot of this movie, it doesn't feel like anything comes like full circle to me. Like it feels like
the theme of Lost did, though.
I guess, but like I don't think that the theme was established well enough, at least to me, to care.
Oh, see, I felt like that was the entire character motivation of that person, was like that they have lost everything possible that they've ever cared about. And so that's why they are jaded and stubborn and irritable. And that that at the end of it, when you see a much more tempered, not yet at that place human being who has had, things change in their life through the course of this movie, that you kind of reconcile that maybe this person is more complete than when they started.
So I guess for me, so maybe saying that it wasn't established well enough isn't the best choice of words, but I guess like it wasn't not the correct word choice. Like I didn't feel as if it was like executed the best. Like nothing pulled me into like connect to it and like for me to care. I don't know. I spent a lot of this movie just not caring, I guess. There was nothing that made me care about these characters or like anything going on within the world, which just left it, I don't know, it left it just feeling kind of dull, and like where a lot of the emotional scenes should have worked, they felt very flat for me.
I mean, I will say I had sort of the optimal way to see it, in that I did see it in a theater. It had the Q&A afterward, and it was so I mean, perhaps there's a certain level of enjoyment that will just occur from that, but I totally get why it doesn't work for some people. But I'm not saying it's a great movie. But like 2 years from now, if someone was like, "Oh, I never watched The Adam Project," I'd be like, "Oh, I'll rewatch that."
Yeah, I wouldn't have any. I wasn't like offended by it in any way. It just like this feels very similar to Reminiscence, like a movie that I'm just going to forget.
Ooh,
very
see,
easy.
For me, this movie was way better than Reminiscence.
I might
That's
actually,
totally okay though.
I might actually prefer Reminiscence to this. In all
Oh,
honesty,
I mean, Reminiscence just like it just was going in circles the entire movie, and I felt like I never got from even A to B. And I was like,
at
oh,
least
that's
it
it?
was interesting. I thought that it was at least interesting.
I've seen Hugh Jackman fall in love with Rebecca Ferguson because she sings. I saw that movie already.
Yeah. And yeah, I do agree with what Simon is saying. The emotional climax of the movie. I was conscious of thinking I'm not feeling anything in connection to this. So it's just, yeah, I don't know why nothing about this movie like grabbed me and really made me like pulled me in. But the one thing I can get behind is that this movie is a 13 going on 30 sequel.
I know, right?
It should have been titled 30 going on 13.
Ha! That would have been good. Shared universe. Done.
Yep.
Stamp it. Hollywood.
Done.
But let's talk about a movie we both did like, because that's another reason I wanted to end with this.
Yeah, so Turning Red is actually like pretty great. It's like, yeah, I mean, all of its themes of connection between like parent to child connection, and the stresses of both sides of it from both the parent and the child, and how they can both be stressed and both of their views of their opinion of the stress can be valid, and it's okay for them to both feel stressed, and the understanding that they can work on it's I know I really enjoyed this, because like when we first saw like the first teaser images, I thought this was going to be like an allegory for like anxiety, and was like a little bit disappointed when I found out that it wasn't, but I still think that it works really well, and it still kind of does work as an allegory for other things that I won't go into, but I think that are equally resonant and impactful. Yeah.
Well, one thing I think that I can touch on a little bit is because I think it's somewhat established in the trailers if you kind of know what you're looking for. There are a lot of significance placed on the what is found in a lot of different cultures, but they're specifically highlighting East Asian culture about parental impression of excellence that you can, impose on your child. And Jewish families and Middle Eastern families have a lot of overlap in those areas of parenting. And this I think might be my favorite Pixar movie. Number one, I didn't see Inside Out until like 2 years ago, and I like what it says. It doesn't speak to me, but I really love what it says to kids. But I think that this movie is my favorite Pixar movie now because it does speak directly to me. I had that mom, and I had that mom and maybe worse. Like I know exactly what that's like. Some people would refer to that term as a tiger mom, which again, not exactly considered an like appropriate or affectionate term. However, like the overlap again in cultures is very much there. So if you've ever heard that, that's what I'm talking about. But like that drive and that level of perfection is the only answer is so damaging to children. Like I am still dealing with the effects of that parenting style, and I'm in my 30s and I go to therapy every week. Like telehealth, but because I'm not going to go to a hospital right now because of COVID unless I have to. But like just that sort of stuff. And I also did love that they weaved in things about pubescence and I don't personally have a lot of female relationships. Like I've like for example, like my identity and all of that stuff is totally my business and someone else's, but like I just don't form connections with women very easily. And the few close female friends I have are amazing, and it's because they're amazing, excellent human beings that transcend their gender. But like I have always had male friends, but I love that this movie highlights female relationships, especially young pubescent female relationships, so positively. Like I really think that that's important for young girls, even if it wasn't important for me. So I love this movie. And also red freaking pandas, everybody. They're so cute.
So like Inside Out is my personal favorite Pixar movie, but this is, I'd have to think about my rankings, but this is definitely placing very high for me. Like, yeah, I also love the time frame that it was set in. I think it actually served the story pretty nicely. Because like initially it was like, why is this here? And I was like, okay, I think it works by the end. As far as the setting, I think just as far as a couple of plot points wouldn't have functioned as well if it were set in the present day. Also, there
I
was
also like that it's based on the creators, like that was at her point in that life was at that time too. So I
yeah,
also felt like it brought authenticity to just her bringing
and
her own story to life.
and as far as both her and then the mother, like it felt like she poured a lot of herself and her mom into those characters. Like it felt like she knew those characters going into it. Each character
Well,
had
and
a
it
very
felt like it wasn't a harsh critique, but more of a just a look at hindsight, because they don't
yeah,
paint even this strict parenting style. They don't paint the mother as the villain of the story.
yeah,
And I think that they have a really good catharsis about it at the end without it seeming like, oh, this is the happiest ending. Every single person realized exactly how wrong they are. Like people really
mhm,
just kind of came together and found a way to compromise. And I think
yeah,
that's also really good for kids to see, because you as a kid, even when you have a boundary that's being overstepped by your parents, you're not 100% right, and you're not going to get
yeah,
everything you want out of your parent realizing what they're doing. Vice versa, if you've done something that's overstepped like the confines of what is just appropriate for you at your age to do, your parents are not going to get everything they want when they try to, have you never do that again. It's
yeah,
very much a compromise. Sometimes it's a 50-50 compromise, sometimes it's a 90-10 compromise, but
yeah.
I think that that's important for kids to see too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and I think that's what, like, especially, I know, I think that, like, generational relationships are a lot about compromise because, like, from generation to generation, it's always going to be hard to see eye to eye just on anything. Like, especially, I would say, like, now, I mean, like, like, in recent, like, it's going to be harder for people to see eye to eye on things, and, like, that's okay.
It
Like
is.
that's fine, and it's fine to compromise. And
I mean, look at how many times on this show that we don't agree 100% on a movie. It's almost
yeah,
every movie. Like, we have a few movies that we're both just like, this is fantastic, it's a masterpiece, and this is a piece of garbage, and we should set it
yeah.
on fire. And everything in the middle, like, there's gradients of me liking it more, or you liking it
Mhm.
more, or me liking it less, or you liking it less. And guess what? I love talking about movies with you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's like, and that's obviously like a very minute example, but that's just like it's a good example of like it's fine to disagree on things, and I think especially in like again generational relationships, and this touches on themes. I mean, I people are gonna get mad at me. Also, Maddie's wrong, and Mortal Kombat is not a masterpiece. But teach their own.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, now that's a masterpiece.
That's objectively incorrect. Um, um, but no,
Trevor doesn't know the meaning of the word objective. I will fix him.
no. I think that there's very few instances where you can say objective about a film. I think you can say that about Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Like I wouldn't even say House of Gucci is objectively bad. And I hate that movie, but like Mortal Kombat Annihilation is kind of like uh it's a yikes. But no, I would say Disney stands are going to get mad at me for saying this, but Turning Red is what Encanto wishes it was. As far as dealing with themes of multi-generational trauma, Turning Red tackles those themes in a just far superior way than Encanto did. Like it, yeah. This is just a really phenomenal film. It's definitely the best Disney or Pixar animated film in the last year or so, probably since Soul, because their output last year was mediocre. And this is like a very, no, I wouldn't even say like a return to form, but like hopefully like a new chapter in tackling these types of stories with a
Yeah.
more open lens. So yeah, I really loved it. I mean, based on your comments, I think that this is a strong contender for the Basement Awards animated feature.
Ooh.
For
We're
next
early prediction, everybody.
early prediction. I already have full predictions for every category of the 2023 Oscars. So,
I
you
know
know,
you do.
It's a problem. But yeah, no, Turning Red is very good. Also, there was a Tamagotchi in it, and I know what that is now.
See, it's great because remember that was on the Does Trevor Know This?
Yeah, no, that's how I know what that is. And then I got very excited when I saw one. I was like, I know the thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So in a way, though, this is perfect timing because we should probably start wrapping up. But why don't you tell everyone what you're going to be working on tonight?
Yeah, so as you've seen, we have the banner, no BAFTA spoilers in the chat, because I have not seen the BAFTA awards in about 15 minutes. I will be reacting to them with my co-host Thomas on my channel. It
Who
will
is
not be
so
live,
adorable.
but the video is going to be up very, very shortly. We're both very, very excited about the BAFTAs because I'm assuming that they did some stuff. And then Critics' Choice is in less than an hour, and we will be reacting to that. So we'll be giving our immediate thoughts, which is a lot of my immediate thoughts is just incoherent noises coming out of my mouth. If you've seen any of my other reactions, but then we'll give our breakdowns, other opinions, and then we also do a weekly podcast. We just recorded episode 22 this morning, breaking down everything in the world of film awards and Academy Awards news. So yeah, BAFTA and Critics' Choice reactions will be later tonight, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm very, very excited to likely scream. So
I can verify that he gets very animated and it's a lot of fun to watch. So you should tune in, at least check in, see if there's a category or two that you want to hear them talk about, or just stay the whole time.
I know lots of useless and applicable to the real world useless facts about film awards, as you could probably tell when we did the thing earlier. Simon, no, it is not live. Specifically for the reason that I will be editing the BAFTA video during the commercial breaks of Critics' Choice.
Which I love so much. You
they
were
will
going to have
be-
quite a night.
So, but both of them should be up by midnight, assuming everything goes well. So those will be later tonight. If you would like a example of what you might be getting in for, we've reacted to nominations in the past. The Oscar nomination reaction is pretty fun. So that's, yeah, I get, it's exciting. It's like, do they mean that much? No, but they're still very, very fun to get excited about. And they do mean, like, I mean, Troy Kotsur, like, this is like a massive breakthrough role for him. And that's like, this is elevating his career to extreme levels, and it will be very fun. So,
and just like watching like the sheer joy, because like you can tell that he clearly had a lot of passion for the movie itself, but is floored at the reception to his performance in it. And I mean, it's just lovely to see people be so taken aback by praise because they're just he did not expect it.
Yeah, I will say, so referencing back to the DGA podcast, when Sean Hayter, she talked about shooting, and she said that that Troy Kotsur, he kept on, so she wasn't that fluent in sign language when they started shooting, and he would consistently try to slip F-bombs into his sign language while they were shooting, and she had to have like interpreters like say like, no, he just dropped an F-bomb again, we have to retake that.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
I love that happened. Yeah, it's just, listen to the podcast, everybody. It's a very insightful podcast. So anyways, I'm doing lots of things. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life post Oscars because I've been like very busy doing a bunch of stuff.
I know one thing that you're going to be doing, but I'm not going to tell anyone else what that is. Hold on, private chat.
Private chat. All right. Oh, well, yes. All right. But yeah, that's mostly what I'm doing. I'm also on Letterboxd and Twitter. You can search my name and I will be there, and don't feel obligated to follow me unless you really want to.
Do it.
All right.
Do it. Sorry. I get real Palpatine when I'm like excited about.
Yeah,
Soon.
yeah. Where can people find you?
People can find me generally sitting on a sofa somewhere or standing in a kitchen somewhere, like what women do. But sorry, I love making that joke because I do just legitimately love cooking and baking, but I'm constantly aware of the fact where it's like, I'm never ever going to be barefoot in my kitchen because I just won't allow it. So,
Okay.
slippies.
I will cut you off, but Burger King officially, the official account for Burger King UK might have the greatest tweet of all time. And it was
Okay.
on International Women's Day, 2021, and it was a thread. First tweet, "Women belong in the kitchen," and then they followed that up by saying, and then they followed up by but sadly they aren't, only 12% of chefs or whatever are women, and we're trying to change that. But I love coming out so strong with the women belong from the official Burger King account. It's quite
I
popular.
remember that now that you said it.
Yeah,
That was great.
it was a thing. Yeah. Anyways.
See, it's funny because that sounds like something the nihilist Arby's Twitter account would say. I haven't gotten a laugh that big out of Trevor in a long time, and I did not think that was what was going to do it.
Well,
but no, obviously, yeah, I'm locatable in places. Sometimes I'm in the central United States. Also, sometimes I'm in the western United States. Just for funsies. But no, you can follow me on Twitter at that Mara. I still don't know how to use Instagram. I might start doing TikTok, so stay tuned. And then I lurk around on things that Dan Merle does. And I have some interesting things on the horizon, but nothing I can confirm as of yet. So we hope, though, that you guys will tune in next week because the plan is that we are finally going to do our spoiler talk about the Batman. And we are going to have a special guest who confirmed, but I want to confirm the confirmation. So stay tuned via tweet because we're going to be heavily amping up this show because I'm going to try to get another guest as well because, a movie like this, it's 3 hours long. We might as well just get 3 guests if we can,
Robert Pattinson is joining the show, everybody. Sorry, I spoiled it, but we're going to be chatting with Robert Pattinson. Good friend of mine. Connection.
Yeah, we met at a Shake Shack once, so we're friends now.
I might have met a Radio Shack, so.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even know Radio Shack was still open anywhere. A+.
I don't think it is. I just know that it is. I don't know why.
You ruined it. Well, you know what, guys? It's not a real show if we don't start out with me talking about how someone died and then we end with a total train wreck. Luckily, no fatalities right here. So
Radio Shack.
Radio Shack for the win. Bye, everybody.